All right, let's talk about interior design. You know that feeling, right? You're standing in an empty room and there's this weird mix of excitement and just pure panic. It's totally normal to feel completely overwhelmed by it all.
I like to call it blank canvas anxiety. Where on earth do you even start? What colors are you supposed to pick? How do you make the furniture look right? Suddenly, there are a million decisions to make, and you have no idea if you're making the right calls. But you know what? We're going to break it all down and make it super simple.
Because here's the secret. Creating a beautiful space isn't just about grabbing a bunch of stuff you like and hoping for the best. It's actually a language. And once you learn the basic vocabulary of that language, the core elements and principles, you'll suddenly have the power to create a room that doesn't just look amazing, but feels right. So, let's get into it.
All right, first things first, before we get into any of the fun stuff, we have to talk about the number one rule in all of design: function first, form second. This quote is everything. It's the absolute foundation. I mean, think about it. Your space has to work for your life. A stunningly beautiful kitchen is completely useless if you can't actually cook in it comfortably. You have to ask yourself, what do I need this room to do for me? So always, always start there. Okay, so you've nailed down the function. Now, how do we build the form part? Well, we use what are called the 7 elements of design. Seriously, just think of them as the basic ingredients you get to play with. First up, and this is the big one, is space. And we're not just talking about the size of the room. We're talking about the balance between the stuff you put in it, that's called positive space, and the empty parts, the negative space. That empty space is so important. It's what keeps a room from feeling cluttered. It lets everything breathe. Here's a cool little trick. Stand back and squint your eyes. It blurs the details and lets you really see if the filled up areas and the empty areas feel balanced. Next, let's talk about line. Now, this sounds super basic, right? But lines have this crazy psychological power. They're everywhere: the edges of your tables, the frames of your windows, the pattern on a pillow. And whether you realize it or not, they are constantly guiding your eye and telling you how to feel in a space.
And it's actually pretty straightforward. Horizontal lines, think a low-slung sofa or a wide dresser. They feel stable, restful, calm. Vertical lines, like tall, soaring bookshelves or floor-to-ceiling curtains, they pull your eyes up and make a room feel grander, more spacious. And then you have your dynamic lines, like zigzags or curves. Those just inject pure energy and movement into a room.
Okay, and then there's color. I mean, this is the heavy hitter, right? It's probably the fastest way to completely change the vibe of a room. You can go from calm and serene to bold and energetic just with a coat of paint. It's an absolute game changer. And stick with me because we've got a really cool trick for this coming up later. So let's bundle these next 3 together because they all work to add that crucial layer of personality. You've got texture. That's how things feel. Is it a scratchy wool blanket, a sleek marble countertop, a soft fuzzy pillow? Then you have pattern, which brings in visual interest on your rugs or wallpaper. And finally, form, which is just the 3D shape of your furniture. Putting these all together is what makes a room feel finished and totally unique. And last but definitely not least is lighting. So many people treat this as an afterthought, but honestly, it's one of the most important elements. Lighting is what makes everything else look good. It sets the mood, cozy, dramatic, bright, and it's also just practical. You need to be able to see what you're doing. A great space always has layers of light, not just one big light in the ceiling.
So if the elements are our ingredients, now we need the recipe, right? That's where the principles of design come in. These are the rules that tell you how to combine all those ingredients to make something amazing. First up is balance. This is all about making sure a room doesn't feel like it's tilted to one side. You can achieve this in 2 ways. Symmetrical balance is the classic approach. You have a fireplace in the middle and you put a matching armchair on each side. It's very formal, very calm. Then there's asymmetrical balance, which is a bit more relaxed and modern. It's not a mirror image, but the visual weight is the same. So maybe you have a big sofa on one side, but you balance it with 2 smaller chairs on the other. It just feels even. Next up is rhythm, and the music analogy here is perfect. Rhythm is what creates a flow and guides your eye through the room. The easiest way to do this is with repetition. Say you pick a pop of yellow as an accent color. You put it in a cushion, then in a piece of artwork across the room, and maybe in a little vase on a shelf. Your eye just naturally connects the dots, creating this really pleasing sense of movement. Now, a room where everything is shouting for attention is just, well, it's chaos. That's why you need emphasis. Every room needs a star of the show, a focal point. It's the one thing your eyes land on when you first walk in. It could be a gorgeous fireplace, a huge piece of art, or a really cool sofa. It just gives the room a sense of purpose and order.
This quote is the perfect way to understand scale and proportion. They sound similar, but they're a little different. Scale is about how an object's size relates to the size of the room. Proportion is how its size relates to other objects in the room. So that giant chandelier? In a grand ballroom, its scale is just right. But you put that same chandelier in a small dining room, now its scale is all off. But you've just created a really dramatic focal point. See how that works?
And this is the whole point of everything we've been talking about. Harmony and unity. This is the ultimate goal. It's that feeling you get when you walk into a room and it just feels right. Everything works together. All the elements, all the principles are playing on the same team, creating one single, unified, beautiful space.
Okay, I know that was a lot of theory. So now let's get practical. How do you actually use all this stuff? I'm going to show you two super simple but incredibly powerful tools that will make this whole process way easier.
Remember when I mentioned a trick for color? This is it. It's called the 60-30-10 rule, and it is a lifesaver. It's a simple formula for a balanced color scheme. 60% of your space should be your main color. That's usually the walls. 30% is your secondary color, think furniture and rugs, and that last 10%, that's your accent, the little pops of fun in your pillows and decor. It pretty much works every time.
And the second tool is an absolute must-do for any project, the mood board. All it is a collection of images that captures the feel you're going for. It's your blueprint. It helps you get all your ideas in one spot so you can see what works before you spend a single dime. This will save you so much time and money, I promise. And this is so easy to do. Forget about fancy software. Just open up Pinterest and create a new board. Start pinning everything you like: rooms, furniture, paint swatches, art, rugs, whatever. Once you've got a bunch of stuff, just stop and look at the whole board. Trust your gut. You'll immediately start to see a theme, and you'll spot the things that just don't belong. So, there you have it. The elements, the principles, the tools. You officially speak the basic language of design now. But here's the most important part. These aren't strict laws you have to follow forever. They're a launch pad. And this quote says it all. You know, everyone says rules are made to be broken, and they are. But the real magic happens when you understand why the rule exists in the first place. Once you get that, you can break it with intention and create something that's not just different, but brilliant. This is how you develop your own personal style. So there's your crash course. You now have everything you need to stop feeling overwhelmed and start designing a space you truly love. The only thing left to ask is, now that you know the rules, which one are you going to break first? Go have some fun with it.